Bob and Brad, the two most famous physical therapists on the internet.
Hi folks, I'm Bob Schrupp, physical therapist.
Brad Heineck, physical therapist.
Together we are the most famous physical therapists on the internet.
In our opinion, of course, Bob.
Today we're going to do an interview with a very special person. I'm going to interview Brad of Bob and Brad, the two most famous physical therapists on the internet.
So who's the special person that you're talking about?
It is you.
Oh,
Brad.
Bob.
So
Why, Bob? Why?
I'm looking forward to this because I never sit down and really ask you questions like these, and some of them I know the answer to, but
Sure.
many I don't.
Is this like one of those roasting or
No,
frying
it's not
things?
a roasting. No. You can. We're going to be very kind to you.
Okay,
and,
I appreciate it.
Also, this, by the way, is on podcast. We're kind of kicking off our podcast here. We're doing two versions of podcasts.
Oh.
One where it's just our regular show from YouTube.
Yep.
And this one's going to be put on YouTube also, this episode.
Okay.
But the other one is where we interview experts in some area having to do with health, fitness, or pain
Right.
control.
So I don't fit into that category.
You don't fit into that category. You're kind of a hybrid here. So let's get started, Brad.
All
All right, let's start.
I've been nervous about this for the
Oh,
last
you
week.
should be.
Shaking. And I didn't sleep last night.
All right, well, you'll get over it. This first one, we have a bunch of questions from Facebook, and I thought we'd start off with those, Brad.
Yeah, let's
So,
talk to the Facebook.
I'd like to know, the person said, both previously as a practicing martial art, so this person practiced martial arts himself, and based upon your experience as a PT, assuming a person is generally healthy and not training for competition, but he wants to do both strength training and martial arts.
Sure.
So how intensive should the strength training be for someone who's practicing martial arts?
Oh, I would say whatever the person is comfortable with. You need strength with martial arts.
When you did both, did you do a lot of strength training?
No, I did mostly endurance. I
Sure.
was not too concerned about my strength as a martial artist, although when I was training for my black belt, actually someone who was more, at the time, this was 30 years ago, he said,
Sure.
you don't need to get stronger, you need to get, work your speed and this and that. And I
Sure.
thought about that, and I kind of agreed, but if you want to get stronger, I don't think you want to get bulkier.
Right.
It's not a big deal, but because martial arts is, I would say, more centered around speed and accuracy and
So you might want to use the exercise bands.
Oh, right.
This is like Tom Brady, who's trying to prepare for
exercise
athletics.
bands would be far superior than weights in the
Sure.
fact that you're going to work your core and you're going to work your balance
And speed.
and speed.
Yeah.
Definitely the resistance bands are going to be more beneficial to make you
A better athlete.
balance is such a crucial aspect of martial arts that you're not going to improve your balance by doing bench press.
Right.
Maybe squats a little bit, but that intense strengthening probably isn't going to benefit your martial arts near as much. And that's a controversial thing.
Sure.
I think someone else may have a different opinion.
Yep. I got to ask you this one just because it was funny, and we have someone that works for us that's into heavy metal music. Do you like heavy metal music, or at least rock and roll, maybe 70s progressive rock?
Or at least rock and roll.
Yeah, at least rock and roll. Are you at least into that?
Well, heavy metal is probably nothing I would turn on and listen to. I might turn it off. Matter of fact, I probably would turn it off.
I know you would turn it off.
Especially as I get older. Even rock and roll, classic rock I like from the 60s, 70s, 80s. By the time 90s came along, they start not doing
You're
rock.
starting to fade on you?
There's no rock and roll past 1990 in my mind. It turns into other stuff, but
Sure.
that's fine.
Noise?
Yeah, actually, there's music that I used to really like back in the 80s that I don't like anymore because I don't know, my tastes are changing with
Yeah,
age.
for me, some of it is that if you hear it too many times, too, you get sick of it.
Yeah.
But,
Although, Boston, you ever hear that group?
Yeah.
I still just I have to be in the right mood, though. I just love some of that music as much as back in the day when I used to listen to loud music.
There we go.
Crank. I had Alpine speakers and everything in my car. I spent more money on that back in 1980 something, and I would listen to loud music, Boston and REO Speedway.
That was a big thing back then, is to put big speakers in your car.
Yeah,
I had the
they
same.
weren't physically big, but they were powerful.
I had some big ones in my
Yeah,
car too.
I had a. Anyways, but yeah, so I think a lot of people kind of mellow out with age.
Sure.
When it comes to that.
All right, here's another question. What is your greatest professional joy?
My greatest professional joy is someone walking in with a back pain like this and walking out upright with a smile on their face.
Well, you're on a podcast here too, Brett, so you got to describe what you were just doing.
Yeah, so
Walking
someone,
in crooked.
Yeah, with
and-
back pain, they're hunched over slightly to one side. Their face is just pure pain, and they're just absolutely begging for help. They don't even have to ask.
Right.
You can see it
You
in
can
their
see it.
face, and you get working with them, and they just think there's no help for them at all. And all of a sudden, you do the right thing, and the light shines in their eyes, and all of a sudden,
Yep.
they're walking out straight, and they think, "Wow, I can take care of this."
You're a miracle worker.
Well, even better yet, and you have the same philosophy, you taught the person something there so that they can help take care of
Right.
themselves at home. You have control of your pain, not me, the therapist, but you do, and I'm going to teach you how to take care of
We
yourself.
have the same philosophy.
Right.
Yeah, Brad and I we take greater joy in teaching you how to do things than we do
Right.
in
Right.
taking away your pain for you.
I don't want to be that therapist that
Yeah.
thinks, you have to come back to me,
Right.
I'll do this or do that, and then you're going to get better and walk out.
Yeah,
But
I'm
you
the
need to come
guru.
back to me again because I need to do this and do that again. That's not my philosophy,
All right.
as well as Bob's.
All right, we're going to move on here, Brad.
Oh, good.
This person was real nice. They said, "You cheer me up and give hope. What do you do to cheer yourself up?" Well, I don't know. What do you do, Brad? Have a Heineken? I don't know. What does he do?
Well, there's so many different flavors of how to cheer a person up,
Yeah.
At the end of a hard day, I like to sit out on my deck and have a beer and
That's the best things in life,
and
isn't it? The
just
simple
listen
things.
to the birds. I've got my bird feeders out there. On the other hand, going for a nice aggressive bike ride, spending some time with my wife, going out to eat.
So she was third on the list? Your wife?
Well, no, I'm
Oh,
from
you-
the bottom to the top.
Oh, there we go. There
Don't
we
try
go.
and get me stuck here. She's going to be watching this
All
one,
right.
But,
Or listening.
Yeah, actually, no. It's family time's really important to me. Having the family together, that's definitely a priority.
Gotcha.
That's above all those other things that are just fun.
Just details
Yep.
of life. So this one, I'm going to ask you this one. How has your life changed since you become the most famous physical therapist on the internet?
Well, not a lot.
You get recognized sometimes.
Well, yeah, and sometimes it's it doesn't happen a lot. Not like with you, I think, because you're 6'6".
I'm tall, I think. Yeah.
and you stick out, and
Yeah.
Anyways, I've had people say you look like that guy on the internet. Now, I'll say, yeah, I've heard that from many other people, and act like
Like you're not the person.
right, yeah.
So,
But and I've had people, and you probably have too, in the store, ask me problems. So then I have to treat them right there.
I've done that too.
And I do. I'm not happy to do it because it's not appropriate
Yeah,
setting.
it's not appropriate setting.
But I don't want to just say, it's just not my personality to say, I'm not going to tell you.
And
I'm not on the clock.
And without an exam, sometimes it's hard to.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So it's interesting change in life, but mostly the hours, the flexible hours of work versus being in the clinic from 8 to 4 or whatever, and then where now it's doing
Right.
the videos, and then I might at night work at time or early in the morning.
Right.
The flexibility of work schedule has been the best thing as far as
Sure.
I can appreciate.
What sparked your interest in becoming a physical therapist?
Oh, my two things. Number one, my brother was a registered nurse, and I didn't think I could work in medical field, but I knew if he could, I could. Because
That's a big theme in your life, by the way.
What?
Well, because I remember what you said is you met some doctors when you were teaching martial arts.
Right.
And you said they seem like regular people to you. It's like if they could go become a doctor, I could become a physical therapist.
Exactly. As well as the martial arts training. I would, early on in my 20s, I hurt my back at work, as long as a few other places, motorcycle accident, whatever. I was always doing something to hurt myself. And when I went to karate and did stretching, things would always feel better with my body.
Sure.
I thought, there's got to be a relationship between this activity, stretching, and feeling better. I went to a chiropractor, and she said, if karate makes it feel better, go. And I liked her, because it's like,
Sure.
she didn't say, come back to me.
Right.
She said, do what works best for you. So less visits to her, more to that. And I thought, well, if this is good, this might be a good way to make a living, so I can help other people take care of themselves.
Fantastic. Did you play any sports when you were younger?
Any sports?
Yeah.
How young? No, in high school or elementary school. Well, in elementary school, you didn't have sports back then to speak of. But from 7th grade, I wrestled all the way through high school.
Well, wait.
Bob, that I was growing. I started in the 80s, and I was up to 167 by the time I graduated.
Oh, really? I didn't think you'd be that high a weight.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Well, actually, I'm getting down to my high school weight again.
Sure.
In the last few years. Track, a little bit of cross country, a little bit of football. Dad said no football. That kind of squatted.
Sure.
Because that was my favorite. But anyways,
What did you run in track? What events?
Half mile.
Half mile? No kidding.
That was half mile discus,
Do you remember your best time?
2:14.
That's about mine.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Those-
Yeah, that was a freshman.
It's not very good. I hate to say that, Brad, but
No, it's not.
It's not.
Well, but still, times will keep getting better. So back
Right.
in the 80s, that was, or 70s, that was.
Right.
Yeah, that was a little better.
78 for me too. Yeah.
I only ran on one leg, Bob. I just hopped.
Yeah. There you go. What was your favorite? No, I'm sorry. We're going to this.
Don't be sorry.
Do you want to talk about your diet and nutrition plan for triathlon training? Do you have a nutrition, or do you not really follow anything for?
You mean,
Triathlon.
well, not specifically for tries.
Yeah, you pretty much.
I
keep the
stick with
same
my
diet.
typical diet. Yeah, I do sprints, the short ones. I've used. My goal was to do an Ironman, but then I start getting knee joint pain and back issues, and it's like,
So for the audience, can you tell what a sprint is?
yeah, sprint typically a quarter-mile swim. The bike typically around 15 miles, and they vary from one to the other, and maybe a 5K run.
Sure.
So it's about an hour and a half, depends on how fast you are. So you don't really need to.
Yeah, nutrition is
Right. If you do an Ironman, nutrition becomes very
Huge.
Huge.
Right.
And actually, for someone like myself, if you're getting real competitive, even that, you want to change your nutrition. But I was never. Well, at one time I was that competitive, but not anymore. So I just like to eat, basically the good food, low carbs, low processed. I like organic.
Yeah, not yeah, exactly.
Right.
Sourced well. The product. Yeah.
Right. So,
So-
nothing really trendy or anything. Just
Sure.
a good basic diet.
Gotcha. Do you have any advice for new PTs or PTAs entering the job market this year?
Get out!
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
What a market
No.
to end it. I mean, seriously though, what a trying time
Yeah. Right.
with COVID-19.
But if it's in your heart to help people, you're interested in the human body and interested in helping people, you just go for it. You don't worry about, is this the right time to do it? Is it going to get better? Is it going to get worse? You cannot predict these things. If it's, like my dad said to me literally on his deathbed, you just follow your heart. One of the best advice I ever had, and that's what I'd say. If it's in your heart to do it, just run with it, and you'll enjoy it. Something will fall into place. I had no idea I'd be on a YouTube channel
Right.
25 years ago when I was in PT school. I had no idea I was going to be a PT.
Right.
My life just jumps around. I don't plan anything. Everything falls
You
into
are an
place.
interesting fellow, Brad. I have to admit that. I don't know if you want this one. How do you motivate the unmotivated patient?
Oh, it depends on the individual. I guess their age and their personality is such
Sure.
an influence. But always looking for the positive. This can happen. I've had this happen to a patient in the past. She worked on these exercises, and now she's doing this.
You
And
give an
you
example
can,
to
you
the
can do
patient.
you can do the
I
same
see.
thing, but you need to, follow my instructions, and I'll help and guide you. Again, I don't know if I'm the best coach that way or not. Sometimes
No, I think
you just be a cheerleader.
you're right. Exactly. A big part of the
mhm.
job, isn't it? The
Right,
emotional
for
part of
sure.
it, the psychological part of it. Did any of your children follow in your footsteps?
No, I only I have one child and one stepdaughter, one
Right.
daughter. My daughter's a mechanical engineer. She had absolutely no interest in being in the medical field, with the exception of building medical equipment.
And she's doing really well, by the
Yeah,
way. Really
she's-
smart girl.
Yeah.
Really accomplished.
Yeah, she is. She's valedictorian, and I get to brag a little bit
Yeah.
about her. My stepdaughter, now she followed a little bit. She was an occupational therapist
Right.
assistant. She got out of that, and now she's working with a counselor
Oh, sure.
for actually for young children all the way through 12th grade, and that
Still helping people.
challenge, yeah, still helping people. I don't know how she can do it, because these people are from challenged homes.
Sure.
There's a lot of depression involved, and when you've got the character and the heart to help that
Right.
population, God bless you. You're a step closer to heaven as far as I'm concerned.
Sure.
I always say I can't do anything from the neck up, when it comes to that part. But the physical therapy part is where I feel comfortable.
Oh, you're better from the neck up than you think.
I
Doug,
don't know.
So. All right. I think that's most of the Facebook questions. I've got a few for you too here.
Oh,
now.
sure, you saved the.
No, do you want to talk about martial arts and the role it's played in your life? I mean, I know we did a video on why you stopped doing it, but do you still go back to what you've learned in martial arts and apply it to your life now, or
Oh, sure. But actually, that video was a pretty good. Went through more than why I stopped. It
Right.
went through the whole thing. But the title of that was why I stopped martial
why
arts.
you stopped martial
something
arts?
like-
Right.
But yeah, initially I was 22, 23 years old when I started, simply because I'm an active person. I just moved to a new town, La Crosse. I was working a lot of hours, and I needed an outlet to be physical. Didn't like running. Didn't like any of these other things.
Which
that
is weird now,
yeah.
because you like running.
Right,
now.
I wasn't going to ride bike. I needed something with some activity,
Sure.
some excitement. It's like karate. That's a cool thing to do. Go kick someone in the head or get kicked in the head. I'm up for that. Of course, that doesn't happen. Well, it does by accident. But
Sure.
You don't try to hurt people at all.
Yeah, it was it way different than you expected?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was. It's like there was all these fun people, normal people. Although I got to admit, martial arts attracts a few people that are out there.
Sure.
They usually don't last long, and you can tell they're going in there and they think they're going to convert into this a magical death trap person that can fight their way through anything, and it's just at least for me and at the studio I went to, it was go there, get healthy, learn to self-defense is a part of it,
Right.
but it's not. That wasn't the biggest part, I think, for most people. That's a secondary thing. Everything else is enjoy the activity, enjoy the people you're with, develop some wonderful friendships that are lifetime friendships.
And you actually went on and you even taught
Yeah.
martial arts.
After
and even
3
did-
years, I started teaching, and I went a total of 17 years. So I taught for 14 years,
Wow.
I guess.
Wow. Awesome.
I got my second degree, and I was very healthy as far as physically, flexibility-wise. But again, socially was
was a big part of
it
it.
was a big part. You go there and talk to your friends.
Yep.
Those were your friends.
Understand completely. How about biking and running? How much do you bike and how much do you run now?
I
Like
bike.
a typical week.
I like to bike 3 days per week. I like to run 3 days per week.
What
Bike-
kind of distances do you usually do?
I bike typically 20 miles at about between 20 and 25 miles. That takes me, depending on the hills, hour and a half. And running, I'd still love to run more, but in the last couple of years, injuries, hamstrings.
Yeah.
My back definitely took a toll on my running a few years ago. That's slowly getting better. So I would like to run 3 to 5 miles 3 days per week. Lately, it's been 1 to 3 miles 3 days a week. But we've
still
got
good.
the mile challenge coming
Yeah,
up.
people don't know this, but Brad and I are going to take on each other with a mile challenge. We're each going to run a mile, and well, we'll talk more about that at a future date.
I have not run a mile for speed in a long time, but I did like running 5Ks and 10Ks competitively at local runs, and that was fun. I'm not so competitive anymore.
You were fast.
Yeah, I won some races that I didn't think I would.
Yep. What is your morning routine when you get up?
Well, I wake up, Bob.
Yeah.
Every morning I wake up.
Good for you.
Open my eyes and just glad I'm alive. Go kiss my wife and say, God, you're beautiful.
Nothing else you want to provide specifically? I mean, do you work out before you eat?
I used to. This has changed because of age. I used to always get up and work out would be the first thing I do. Now I wake up, and in the last few years, I'm 57, going to be 58. My body does not respond like it used to. I'm stiffer.
It takes a while to get moving.
It does, and so what I do now is I get up and I'll just walk around, go on the computer, check out what's going on with our channel.
Sure.
And then after about a half hour, maybe get something to eat, then I'll do my routine. I'll do banding.
Oh, you will?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like this morning.
How often do you do banding?
3 days a week.
3 days.
I like 3 days a week.
Every 3 days a week.
And I swim 3 days a week, except for now because of the silly COVID thing going on.
So I
can't go to the pool. It's driving me nuts.
You got a lot of days. Are there a lot of days where you're doing 2 workouts?
Oh yeah. Monday, Wednesday, Friday is typically 2.
2 workouts.
Yeah, banding, my resistance training and balance, and then I'll run.
Okay.
Either later in the day or in the afternoon.
So you work out a lot.
And then swimming would be the other 3 days. Swimming and then biking were always at 2 days if it was a normal year. Or that would be my goal, depending on.
Swimming or biking?
No, swimming in the morning, biking in the afternoon.
You did a double workouts all week long.
Was that BID?
BID.
Yeah,
there you go.
medically speaking, I did BID workouts.
Yeah, there we go.
That means twice a day.
I think it's good for people to know that because not this is about me, but I work out twice a day too.
Yeah.
So it takes a lot to stay in really good shape.
Yeah. Yep. And it's like eating. You want to eat and you want to work out. And I always love to work out outside much better than inside.
Yeah, me too, without a doubt. You want to talk about your mechanical background? You are very blessed in that area, Brad. You're very mechanical.
Yeah, like we said, it's either a blessing or a curse.
Yeah.
Well, that was my first career out of high school. Well, through growing up, I was always
tinkering
around, had motorcycles, worked on motorcycles and cars just because they keep them running, and didn't know what to do after high school.
Back in those days, it was unusual for people to work on cars.
Right,
now
the backyard mechanic was the norm.
Yeah, it was.
But anyways, after high school, I went to school to work in industry and repair industrial equipment.
How much schooling was that?
2 years.
It was 2 years?
Right.
Wow.
Right.
You've done a lot of schooling.
Yeah, a lot of machine shop. You had to do everything. Work on a machine shop. You had to know how to weld. You know how to work with electrical stuff. A real broad field. And then I went into a more specific electrical mechanical field. So I was always working on electrical equipment and mechanical equipment because electric motors are mechanical.
Sure.
And did that for about a little less than 10 years. Part owner of a business, worked long hours. So I burnt myself out of that career working. We were 24-hour service, very small, so we didn't have shifts. You just worked until you had to make the customer happy. You starting a business. I was part owner of the business.
Little time off.
Right.
Either.
There was, 40 hours a week never existed.
Wow.
It was 5 days, oftentimes 6 days. And, you got to do what you got to do to get a business going. And the people I worked with, my partners, very aggressive people. And, listen to Zig Ziglar and gotta go, and we're full of energy. And I decided I don't think I can live the rest of my life this way. And I just wanted to go to college and see if I could experience that. There's a lot of other things that, in the big picture of life, what do you want to do? And I thought, I want to experiment with another adventure in life. So.
And I think it's a good time to bring this up, Brad. I mean, this is amazing to me. What age were you when you went back to college?
About 29.
So for those of you who are not in the graduate field here, these are very difficult programs. Like physical therapy, very difficult. I was
Competitive.
Very competitive, and very difficult to complete. And to me, if you're older, your memory's not as good. I mean, it's already starting to fade at 29. I mean, it's not as sharp as you were when you're 23,
Sure,
24.
right.
And I know we had an elder person in our class, an older person,
Yeah.
and he was 29, but he was had a PhD in something already.
Sure.
And so, I'm sorry, he wasn't in my class. He was in a later class. But he said, I just can't keep up with the kids. You know what I mean? And so for you to come back and do that really is amazing. I mean,
Well, it was definitely a challenge, and the thing that helped me out the most was I really didn't know what I was getting myself into.
Sure.
I just made up my mind that I was going to do it, and that's the kind of person I am. If I make up my mind I'm going to do it, I'm just going to do it and don't worry about the other stuff. Just
Sure.
focus. And because if I knew that I had to get all these A's in these classes I knew nothing about, because I didn't take any college prep classes
Sure.
in high school, I thought I would have been like, oh, this is too much. But I didn't know that. So,
Right.
blinders can really be helpful
it can be. Ignorance can
in
be
life.
helpful.
So I just went through it, and I was very fortunate to get good enough grades and then to get accepted in the PT school.
It's just really an amazing story. The other thing is this whole mechanical background explains to me a little bit why I see what I see today. If there's anything that needs fixing, I can go to Brad and ask him. I mean, electrical, mechanical. I mean, you always know something about it.
Well,
And
I'm remodeling my third home.
yeah, he's done that. He's just one of those guys. He knows something about everything. At least he pretends he does.
Right. Yeah. Well, no, it's one of those
He
things.
does.
Master. Well, how's that thing?
Yeah, master of none and
Yeah. Jack of all trades, master of none. And that, that's true. I can weld. I can do electrical, plumbing, build things, but I'm not really good at any of them. But good enough to make things work.
Well, and on the other side of this, we together, Brad like 95% and me 5%, we've come up with new products. And Brad is just over and over again. We'll run into a problem,
Right.
and we'll get stalled out. And I always say to Brad, you're going to figure it out. You're a clever guy. And he does. He always figures it out. He always figures out a solution on how we're going to fix this. And we've run into this many times.
Sure.
I mean, the knee glide, there was many problems.
Yeah, that was. If you look at it, it's like that's an easy piece of equipment to build, but boy, we had so many roadblocks with that. But,
again and again.
But it wasn't just me, Bob. It was you, our designer. Everyone was chipping in ideas.
Yeah, it wouldn't have happened without you. And I mean, you came up with the original idea too. And the knee glide is a device you can use after you've had a knee replacement and actually any knee surgery, and it's just really simple.
Yeah, it works very well.
But again, it was very complicated to design. And you just designed a pull-up system, system that we're going to be coming out with. But that was very clever too.
Yeah, that was.
So,
But that was with your diligence in saying after I made like 3 or 4 pull-up bars, I was so proud of, and Bob just kept saying, "Nope. It's not good enough. We got to make it more simple. It costs too much to build."
I'm the Steve Jobs. I'm the Steve Jobs. I just keep telling the other, no, it's not good enough. He's the person that does all the work.
Yeah. So anyways, I'm always up for a challenge.
Yeah, well done. So just a couple more questions here. Do you have any mentors? Did you have any mentors in your life that followed you or guided you, that you followed or that guided you?
Well, that's a good question, Bob, because I think I don't know. The people I've worked with, even in high school, I worked for a painter. He was a real perfectionist. Everything had to be done so. And
that brings up Brad. Brad's an excellent painter. So,
yeah.
You know what? No, he is. He knows painting.
Yeah, but don't ask me to do it.
Yeah,
I got to do some this weekend at home.
Sure.
But anyways, so that kind of set a path for me to, if you're going to do something, do it right. And then when I went into business as in the electric motor business, the people I worked with were very particular about things and do the job, do it right. Otherwise, don't do it. And I didn't mentor or anything, but I was influenced by these
Sure.
characters, as well as Bob. And then I meet Bob, and he's so laid back, and things just kind of fall into place. It was a complete different atmosphere
Style.
from the previous people. I worked
Right,
with. So it's
right.
been a wonderful way to experience life from one side to the other.
Yeah.
And they're both good.
Yeah,
I mean, they
you're
both work.
taking the best from both, I think,
Right.
is what you're doing.
But
and
as far
make
as
it work.
the only individual that I really, as a character or a person that
you admired, or
I really admired in a professional or a sense that this person did exactly what he loved. He didn't care about anything but doing his inventions. Was Nikola Tesla.
Tesla, yeah.
I don't know how to pronounce his first name. Nikola.
Nicholas. I don't know if it's
Anyways, Tesla. But everyone
Tesla.
thinks it's a car or a band or
Right.
something. But if you ever read his book on his life, the guy's absolute genius. He's up there with the realms of Einstein, literally.
No, he was actually. I think Edison was even jealous of him. I believe.
Tesla just walked all
Yeah,
over
yeah,
Edison.
he did.
Matter
Yeah.
of fact, Tesla couldn't work with him anymore
Right.
because he's so far ahead.
That's what
literally.
I heard too. That's what I heard too.
Yeah, Edison wanted to do DC. My
Right.
God, DC is like it has a place, but Tesla was doing AC and
DC.
three-phase AC. My gosh! But anyways, he did what he loved. He didn't care if he got paid for it. He was so enthralled with what he loved to do, and that was his life. So if you can do something you really love without having the thrills of money and everything else, you're spot on.
You're in the right area.
Right, and so I think he
I
died
wonder-
a poor person, actually.
I want to read a book on Tesla now. Now that you've said that, I want to. I mean, you've inspired me to want to check out a book on him.
Yeah, the guy was just amazing.
So,
A little weird, though.
yeah. Well, that's all that genius. Always there's that part of it, isn't it? There's so.
Yeah,
Well, Brad, thank you. Thank you for taking the time today.
Well, we got 4 more minutes.
Well, what
Come
do you
on.
want to?
No,
Is there
I'm
anything
just-
else
I'm
you want
just
to talk
kidding,
about?
no.
I know, seriously. Is there anything that we missed that we should talk about? Anything? Someone's asked, has fame gotten into your head?
Has what?
Fame got into your head.
Oh, no, I don't think so. I like to keep a low profile on the camera.
Keep it on the down low.
Nope, I just will finish off with, Julie, if you're watching this, you're the love of my life, and I love you dearly, and my children as well, and grandchildren. So we'll see how things go with the rest of this crew here, how things fall into place with our life.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for watching and listening.
Adios.